My name is Wendi Spurlock. I am the program coordinator over the mentoring department and post residential at Thunderbird Challenge Program in Pryor, Oklahoma. I have been with the Oklahoma Military Department, working with them for 15 years. But with Thunderbird, I've been here 5 years. We are a quasi-military program. It's actually a residential military academy for males and females, the age of 16 to 18-year-olds. While they're here, they go through school. They can get their high school diploma, depending on their age, their GED. They also can take college courses, and they go to VOTEC and get some of those classes as well. It's a military style basic living, so it's very structured. They live in barracks. There's lots of PT going on. They learn discipline and respect. They're up at 5 a.m. and they do PT, and then they eat breakfast. They go to school Monday through Friday, or Monday through Thursday. Fridays, we do community service. They have to have 40 hours before they graduate. And they go on field trips, fun field trips on Fridays. Staff go on Fridays as well and help out. They also do the community service on the weekends. So they're learning how to, help the community, respect their elders in a quasi-military style environment. Here in Thunderbird, there are 2 phases to our program, the residential phase and the post-residential phase. So the residential phase is when they're here on post, and that is about 5.5 months. So altogether, the program's about 17.5 months, because the post-res phase is when they go back home and they're reintegrated into society, and they keep in contact with our department, which is the case management, once a month for 12 months. They also have to keep in contact with their mentors, and the mentors keep in contact with the case managers as well to let us know what their cadets doing. I always say the case managers are like a lifeline, because when they're in class in the residential phase, we're going over their goals, what they want to do, getting them thinking about what they want to do when they leave, because they're teenagers. They don't think about maybe tomorrow, they don't think that far ahead. And so we get them thinking, and they set a plan, and the mentors get a copy of that. And so the mentors are there to try to help them keep accountable, to make sure that they don't just go home back into the society that they came in and go back down the path that they had just got out of. And so our case managers keep in contact with them once a month. We track what they're doing. We also verify. So if they say they're working at McDonald's, we call McDonald's, or we get some kind of verification that that's really what they're doing. And so we really hold them accountable. But then the mentors are a huge source, because we rely on them to give us information, because they'll tell us the truth. Like I said, it's 17.5 months. Once they graduate the residential phase, they go into the post-res phase, and that's what our department does, is to track them for those 12 months and keep them accountable for their actions, and try to get them to do things that will help them out in life. Our program's completely free to the parent. They don't have to pay anything. So it's almost like a $30,000 scholarship. When the cadets come here at Thunderbird, it is a requirement for them to have a mentor. So a lot of times when they come into the program, they will already have a mentor. The parents, usually it's somebody that the cadet knows, which makes it a lot easier, because that relationship is already there. Sometimes, for instance, I just got an email from a parent saying that they both were in foster care and don't have any family, and they don't know what to do for their son. And so in that instance, we don't want the cadet to have to be withdrawn from the program because they can't meet that requirement. So myself and my team will sit there and call police stations, teachers, anybody and everybody we can that's in the area of that cadet, just so that way you know, we don't want them to get dinged for something they can't control. And so we just, a lot of times we'll have mentors that'll step up and take 2 cadets because they want them to succeed too. But I mean, we just call and try to recruit and see if there's anybody out there, you know, that will call us back and take on a cadet. We also have a brainstorm worksheet that we give the parents. I don't know if you can see this, but I mean, it's a whole big sheet, and it'll have a list of just things that, you know, dad's friends, mom's friends, brother's friends. And it's just a brainstorming worksheet that the parent can fill out, and they can cross off anything that, okay, well, we don't have that, or, you know, that won't work. And it kind of gets them thinking, oh, hey, I didn't know we could do this. This would be a perfect fit. So after all those, that's when we'll step in and just start calling and asking in the area of the cadet. Yes, we give, if the parent, when they come in to in processing and they don't have a mentor application and the parent doesn't really know, we will give that brainstorming worksheet to the parent. Sometimes we even email it to them before in processing so they can start thinking about it before they come here. But yeah, we give that sheet to the parents if they need it. We do have a training day. Usually what happens is the mentors will go through training in the morning, and then their cadets will join them and they'll get to eat lunch with their cadet, and then they go through co-training. I shortened it down to about 4 hours. Try to get it all done so that way they can get it done and then just enjoy their lunch with their cadet and be able to visit with them a little bit longer. Basically, we're going over all the information, do's and don'ts, our policies, what they can and can't do, like the hands-off policy, information, they, you know, not releasing certain information. And basically the cadets go through the same training as well. So around week 2, they will go through what's called mentee training. And then later on, we have the mentor training. So when the cadets come and join them, they already know what's going on. However, COVID struck and we weren't able to have on-site training for the last 2-3 classes. So that's when we did create that thunderbird.org, and they have the mentor tab and all the training PowerPoint that I've done, all the forms, everything that we do in that class is all online. So if I can mail them the packet, I have it all printed out, I can mail it to them, we can email it, and or it's online. So we get that information to them, they sign the forms, the cadets go through the training. And so COVID kind of restricted a lot, but they still get that information and it's out there because they don't really get to come face to face and take their cadet off post unless they've gone through that training. Well, the cadets would have 3 home passes. So they would get to go home, and usually it's a weekend, and then they'd come back. And the mentor passes, we would have 3. So the mentor passes didn't start until they were matched to their cadet, because we didn't want them to take them off post until they've gone through background checks, training, everything they needed. But we did week 2, we would include the mentors. We would have the candidate to cadet ceremony, and that's when the cadet candidate becomes the cadet. They've gone through all the training they need and everything, and the mentor would come and have lunch with their cadet, so they would get to see them. They also get to see them when they went home. So if they saw them each time, there would be 7 times that they would get to interact with their cadet, because they can see them when they went home, the 3 times, they can see them mentor pass, and the mentor passes are 4 hours. So if they show up for 2 passes, that's 8 hours. And that's one of the requirements for our department, is the 8-hour requirement face-to-face. Because of COVID, we ended up doing the duo video calls. So that way they can at least speak and kind of interact with their mentor. But yeah, they had about 7 chances to be able to visit with their cadet, see their cadet. And the candidate to cadet ceremony, that was only for mentors to show up and staff. So the parents didn't get to be here. They did do it live, a video live, but the cadets would be so excited because they would get to tell them, I made it to cadet, I made it. And it's a huge accomplishment. So that right there, with the mentors being there, it made the cadets feel so proud, and, you know, to share that with them, and they were really excited. Like I said, the residential phase is when they're here on post. That is 5.5 months. So the first 2 weeks is what we call the acclimation phase. So they're learning the formations, they're learning the marches, they're learning how to do PT correctly. You know, they're learning everything quasi-military style, getting in the routine of getting up at 5 a.m., going to bed at 9 p.m., and breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and, you know, everything is scheduled. So they're learning that the first 2 weeks. They also do like a physical fitness test. If they've passed that and they complete it, that's when they become a cadet. Then there's three months left, and that's when the first 2 weeks they do group. So if somebody gets in trouble, the whole group does the PT. After the first 2 weeks, then it goes to just that individual. But they learn, you know, what to do not to get in trouble because they have to PT. Some of them like orbiting and running around, you know, and doing the extra physical fitness stuff. But yeah, so they're a group in the first 2 weeks. So they know if somebody misbehaves or does something, the whole group has to do it. And there are 4 platoons on post. So 3 are males and 1 female platoon. They're kept separate. The females don't interact with the males. So there's sometimes 40 cadets in one barracks. So if somebody messes up, you can guarantee that the others are like, stop, because that makes them get extra PT. After the first 2 weeks, then that's when they start going to school and getting into the routine of Monday through Thursday. They go to school, and Fridays is like elective day or field trip day, and then the weekends are community service. So by the first 2 weeks, hopefully that bad behavior or the, you know, not wanting to listen to adults, that's changed, and they're getting into the routine of the quasi-military style and acclimated into what we call Thunderbird. Our first mentor pass will do a matching ceremony, and that is where the mentor and the mentee read a pledge together, and basically pledges to maintain contact, work together, and then the mentor gets a pin. So the cadet gets to pin a pin on their shirt, and it just says, you know, mentoring, and so that's a little something they get. But they also get knowing that they're helping a youth out. And in my opinion, the reason why I do what I do is because if I can help one child out and help save their life or better their life, my job is well worth what I'm going through. You know, there's 132 cadets here, and they all have mentors, and they all look up to their mentor. So, you know, in my eyes, you would think that the mentor would just feel appreciated, and they get to take that home with them, knowing that they're helping our youth out today, you know. And I send a certificate out to them for completing all the training and getting all their paperwork in time. And then they get to, in the post-res phase, they get to keep in contact with them and stay in contact and be that person that the cadet feels comfortable with to speak to, you know, and talk to. A lot of times these teenagers these days don't like to talk to their parents. And so having the case managers or the mentors to be able to call and talk to and get advice, that's just right there is just well worth being a mentor, you know, being able to just be there for them and help them out. So it's just respect, and, you know, just being able to help is more than what they gain. We have a mission statement, and the mission statement kind of says it all. I'll tell you the mission statement. It's so the National Guard Challenge Program is to intervene and reclaim the lives of the youth to produce program graduates with values, skills, education, self-discipline, and so they can succeed in life. And that's what we're doing. We're trying to put whatever behavior they've had or that they were going through, put it aside and kind of retrain their brain, respect. And a lot of times, you know, when they get caught up on their schooling, they could be behind and they get caught up. It's that feeling of, you know, they're proud, they can now graduate with their team. And so, I mean, we just take these cadets that are kind of like broken and build their confidence back up and get them the skills and knowledge that they need to be able to succeed as adults. I know it works just in the fact that I get so many success stories. You know, these cadets, they don't want to be here when they come in. You know, they don't think they need to change, and you know, they have that attitude that I'm not going to do this. But then they come graduation, they don't want to leave. They get used to knowing they're going to have 3 meals or, you know, 3 good meals a day. We have a chef that's on staff. They get snacks. They just knowing where they're going to lay their heads sometimes. And I've had just so many success stories from mentors who called me and said they were so proud of their cadet. It's just so many people have said, you know, thank you so much for your program. And I actually even got this card from a mentor, and it just says, thank you so much for doing your job and being who you were, you know, and this right here is all the data I need. A lot of times the mentors are a family, like a grandparent or an uncle. And so, yeah, they stay in contact. The ones that we have a cold match to, you know, that we find somebody for, yes, I've heard that they've built that relationship, that they keep in contact all the time. I had a real success story. I had a mentor who took on a cadet that was here, but then left the program, and he still wanted to be a mentor. So we assigned him to someone who didn't have one. And now this mentor lived around Pryor where we are, but this cadet lived over towards a panhandle somewhere. So they were completely far away, but he, after post-res, would drive out there. And this kid kind of got into some hard times and didn't have running water, and he would take him and go, you know, somewhere to get cleaned up. He couldn't get a job because he didn't have a car or transportation. He bought him a bike, and so he can go get a job. And this was all after the program was over, and they didn't have to report to us anymore. So, I mean, they still maintain contact if there's that relationship. Sometimes the cadet doesn't follow through and doesn't want that relationship, so then it kind of ends. But yeah, there's those handfuls that still keep in contact with them and help them out even after the 17 and a half months. We do have Thunderbird Mentor Facebook page. Anybody can go on there and like the page, and then they'll see updates that we do throughout the program, updates on upcoming events. And a lot of times that's where I'll post, like if we need a mentor in a certain area, I'll get volunteer mentors just from that page. We also have LinkedIn and Twitter and our Thunderbird Challenge, Thunderbird.org page. And so there's a lot of social media out there regarding our program. And that's where a lot of times we'll get our volunteer mentors. They'll submit an application. A lot of times they're past graduates who from many, many years ago. And I mean, we're on class 57 right now. So we've been around for a little bit, and I had someone call me yesterday and say that her and her husband had gone through here and would really want to be a mentor. And those are the best mentors because they've been through the program, they know, and that was just from our mentor Facebook page. be consistent, don't give up. A lot of times it is rough, and working with teenagers, it is very hard. And it makes you want to give up, but don't give up. They need everything they can, and they will sometimes push you away. But like I said, just don't give up. Keep trying to maintain contact with them. It really makes a big difference having somebody there that you know is there for you and to help you succeed. It really makes a big difference. So, you know, if anybody's wanting to mentor, we always can use mentors, and it really, really helps the youth out today. I mean, you may not think it does, but it really does. Just them knowing that somebody is there for them, it really boosts their confidence. Anyone who is willing to help out a youth and has that heart to help out today's kiddos, you know, please volunteer and donate your time, because it's very important, and these kids need somebody to look up to. There's 132 cadets on post right now. If I can help change one life, my job is well worth what I do. You know, there may be the ups and downs, but if I can remember, and you know, we have a graduation at the residential phase, and seeing those cadets when they first come in to when they first leave, and they're graduating and going across that stage, it's like a big mama moment. And you're just like, oh my gosh, they have transitioned so much and learned so much. And it's just a proud moment, you know. And I mean, we've had parents who totally walk by their cadet because they didn't recognize them. We have cadets that lose, but you know, if they come in, say they're, you know, 200 pounds, they leave 140, you know, I mean, because of the exercising and the food and everything. Or we've had one mom cry because a cadet said yes ma'am to her, and she had never heard that before. So just seeing how much we change kids' lives, my job's well worth it.